What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDoWorkHereLady. Alright, this story's called Shut Up, Kid, I Want the Engineer. Second story. Since the first one was much more appreciated than I could have hoped, I began looking into old anecdotes, and I remembered this gem from 2011. Again, a small preemptive excuse since English is not my first language. Sadly, or luckily, I don't remember any more stories that fit this particular sub. That said, here we go. At that time, I was 26, just out of university, with my title and master both completed by December 2010. Almost immediately, I went into an engineering company specialized in tall buildings. I was still green with little to no experience in the real world, and by nature, I'm also evasive when it comes to conflict, so I'm not exactly the wise choice when it comes to clash against aggressive or too dominant people. Still, I was able to fake confidence and was capable enough to quickly gain the trust of clients. Because of that, I was already managing projects with some degree of autonomy at 6 months in the job. That said, it was November, already very warm weather, Chile, so summer in November, and the office was working at its usual pace. That is, calm, but 2 steps away from total panic. It was morning when my boss called me. Let's call him Ray. He is a great guy, professional, but often a bit dense when it comes to social cues. To this day, we're still good friends despite both not working there anymore. When I arrive at his desk, he pulls a set of schematics. Hey, I have a meeting this afternoon with this particular client, but I cannot go. They have some kind of issues, so it's important that someone from the office is there if things go difficult. Difficult? I asked. Yeah, they made a screw up and want to blame us. Still, everything is on the drawings. You shouldn't have any issues. Sure, I'll take it. The meeting time came and I left the taxi in front of this 22-story office building. The lobby was already finished in floors of black marble and roof in white marble with diffuse white lighting. Round, double-height columns in stainless steel. As I enter, something calls my attention. There are scratches on the floor. Oh, also on the columns. Hell, also on the doors. This is bad. These are telltale signs of horrible construction management. I take the stairs to the 4th floor, and the construction auditor, Phil, receives me. He's a large guy with a short beard and stern but amicable face.
So, you are OP. What happened to Ray?
Hi, yes, he sent me in his place.
Well, we're about to start. Just sit by my side and don't intervene unless it's necessary.
Anything I need to know? I ask. He smiles me back with a grin.
Just wait and enjoy.
So we enter this large improvised meeting room. There is electricity, but the floor is bare concrete and the doors are temporary. The table is enough for maybe 20 people. In the corner, there's a small guy with a curved back and a sketchy appearance. He could be described as a weasel in office attire. No one pays any attention to my presence as everyone is taking seats. I sit beside Phil, near the middle of the table. The weasel on the far head and the closest head is still empty.
That guy is the construction manager. He's blaming us for the screw-up,
he says, pointing at the weasel. We wait for maybe 5 minutes with only a rumor of the small conversations in the place. Finally, the door opens and a peacock-like office Chad enters. Black trousers, white and pink vertically striped shirt, and big golden sunglasses where a helmet should have been. A large golden watch, kettlebell-sized, completed his image.
Sorry I'm late. Let's begin the meeting,
Chad announces. I assume from his commanding tone that he is the representative of the owners. After some minimal greeting to all the people in the room by the architect, he gives the word to Chad. I take a glance at Phil. He is expectant. Now, Chad raises from the table, points to the weasel, and the party starts.
explain to me who the hell forgot to build doors for the elevator's machine room? We are already delayed a month, you made a freaking mess in the lobby, and now we have to demolish a wall so the elevator people can enter.
Okay, sir, the weasel answered. First of all, these changes have been asked by you. You asked for the people to be left ready while I still have work with people there, and
you have it fully scratched. How the hell is that my responsibility?
Turns out, Chad and the weasel not only were severely unprofessional, but also hated each other with such passion that they had to be put in opposite sides of the table because more than once they went too close to a fist fight. They discussed screaming at each other for maybe 5 minutes. Chad is fully aggressive and red, attacking relentlessly. The manager, just as his appearance suggests, sneaks in between all the attacks and deflects responsibilities, blaming everyone under the sun. The rest of the assistants are just expecting to let time pass quickly and leave, but Phil is happy. He was one step away from having some popcorn. I lean to him and whisper, "So, they've forgotten access for the machine room?"
Not only that, but the weasel also declared some construction molds as stolen, and they made investigation. Turns out, they are still inside that closed room.
What? I ask a bit louder.
Hey, kid.
Chad addresses me disrespectively,
Shut up.
and goes back to his fight. After some more punches back and forth, the weasel is running out of ways to deflect his mistake. He tries one more.
But it wasn't our fault. The door was not in the structural engineer's drawings.
He forms a smug smile.
Plus, Ray didn't even come to the meeting. If any penalties are to be applied, it's to them for their incompetence.
Boy, that was my cue. I cleared my throat, but failed in the first impression, entering in a timid way. Well,
Shut up, kid.
the weasel snaps and looks to Phil.
Phil, keep your assistant quiet.
I decided to make myself understood more clearly. I pull the set of schematics, letting them fall heavily over the table and catching the attention of both Chad and the weasel. Over the schematics, I put my construction helmet with the logo of the engineering firm. Silence takes the place. If I may, I now speak in front of a pale weasel and a Chad who internally debates if showing shame for calling me kid or doing a victory lap around the weasel. I'm actually a structural engineer from company, and Ray sent me in as his representation because his schedule was full. Mind if we check what appears on the drawings? Here we are. Yes, as you can see, the door is here, and I think this cannot be attributed to confusion from structural design.
I agree.
Phil comments with a huge smile. The rest of the table is trying to hide their amusement. I continue. So, that settles it. I can make here a procedure for the demolition and installation of the access, or if you prefer, I can send it approved by Ray tomorrow. Everyone is silent in a second of contained store. But Phil isn't done yet. He leans in and puts his hands over the table.
Now, we need to see what we will do to recover the supposedly stolen equipment that is still trapped inside the machine room. And what will you do about the 2 workers you fired this morning?
He looks to the weasel, who is just about to melt and escape by the first crack he can find. Chad now turns into a raging volcano. He was so furious that his blood pressure could have been measured in atmospheres.
You fired without proof?
And then another maybe 5 minutes of berating exploded until the architect, who was supposed to be coordinating the meeting, called to a truce so they could advance with the problems of the electric and water crews. Phil and I were dismissed, but while the door was closing, I could hear Chad screaming again. I sighed, relieved. Truth is, I was shaking a little. What a mess.
Nah, this was a quiet meeting,
Phil said, smiling.
Tell Ray he missed a good one. Pleased to meet you, kid.
In the end, the construction was finished with 5 months of delay. Both Weasel and Chad were fired from their respective companies. Ray just laughed at my story and told me it was a good thing that Chad hadn't tried to punch me because he wanted to fight everyone all the time. I never found those two again. But I found Phil on another project 2 years later. Same old mischievous man. To my luck, to this day, I never had another meeting like that dreadful one. Man, this sounds really similar to another story where like the dude walked in, he's like, I am the engineer. And like there was a jerk in the meeting and he was like, everyone freaked out, and I said it was like an anime thing where they take like an otherwise boring profession and turn it into this badass thing. Anyway, made me think of that. Pretty cool. Must have felt pretty good to put all those idiots in their places. That's what I like to call good organization skills. Get it? Putting everyone in their place. Ha! Alright, this story's called Wrong Federal Agency. I work for a certain federal agency that makes sure your Amazon packages and bills arrive the same day. This happened a couple of winters ago, and it was hard to believe this guy thought what he did. So, the winter before I was promoted, I was working on a route that was fairly cold, around -40-degree windshield, and I was getting towards the end of the workday and still had lots of mail and packages to deliver. Well, after I did my rounds of delivering mail from the point I was parked at, I was getting ready to deliver packages that I knew I couldn't carry and were in the direction I had to go to for my next park point. While I was preparing this and ready to drive off, a gentleman from a house I delivered managed to pull out of their driveway and started to drive in that same direction as I. Now, for this next part, I want to preface by saying there were 3 blocks from where I was to the next part I needed to park at. On the first block where the gentleman was and I was at, I dropped off a package on the opposite side of the street. The gentleman was in his car at the edge of the driveway. As I went back to my van, he got the end of the block that had a stop sign. We both drove to the second block and proceeded to pull over to the curb, as I also pulled over to deliver 2 packages. Then he proceeded to pull back out and go to the second end of the block. I was ready to go to the third and final block to start my round of delivering mail again. So I was behind him, and coincidentally, we both went to the third and final block. He pulls over again. Oddly enough, I come up and proceed to go and park and warm up by sitting in the van for a bit. The following conversation ensues. Here's the cast, there's me. Crazy guy! Crazy guy pulls up next to me. Hi, what can I do for you? How you doing? Fine, what can I do for you? He stares at me for a few seconds. I'm a bit worried. Why are you following me? I'm not. I'm the mailman? Yes, sir! You were following me a while. I gesture to the logo on the van. I have enough work to do rather than follow you. I'm the mailman. I just think it's funny how you came all the way up here by me. Yeah, I have to warm up. It's cold outside. This is where I park. All right. Then he drives away. I was honestly shocked as to why, let alone how, he thought I was intentionally following him. I'm cold, I'm busy, and even though I was essentially working around him, he kept thinking I was following him. Still funny to this day, and if I ever get the chance to do that route again, I can't wait to make it seem like I am following him for my amusement. You can never be too careful, man. I'm not just talking about like, you know, being followed in general or whatever, like don't trust anybody. No, I'm talking about specifically with mailmen, okay? Dogs have to be barking for a reason. Where there's smoke, there's fire, guys. Alright, this story's called I'm Definitely Not Here for That. Bit of an odd encounter I had today, and I thought I'd share it here. I work at a sex shop, and we have an arcade and a cinema. Due to Brovid, the cinema is closed and the arcade procedures are very strict. I was outside on my lunch break having a cigarette, in full uniform with the name of the company brightly displayed across my chest, when a man approached me. Man will be referred to as man, and I will be me.
Hi, are masks required to go in?
Yep, gotta have it on whenever you leave a booth.
Is the cinema open yet?
Sorry, man, probably won't be around for a long time.
Oh, what about the arcade?
It's open until 1:30 a.m., and I proceed to give him all the new ground rules for the arcade.
I see.
He pauses uncomfortably for a moment, then proceeds to move in closer to me.
So, what are you here for tonight?
Work?
Oh, Oh, you work here?
His face fell and he looked disappointed. At that moment, I realized that this man had approached me in the parking lot not because he knew I worked here, but because he was trying to take me into the arcade. I'm in uniform, dude. And why were you asking me questions about store procedures if you didn't think I worked here?
I don't know.
He looked very embarrassed and left after that. Not a long story or a particularly shocking one. I just don't get how it didn't click that I was an employee or why he was asking me these questions when he assumed I was a customer too. I guess if I've learned anything from working at a sex shop though, it's that when people get horny, they get dumb. Alright, this story's called what were you gonna say again? Hi, so let me introduce myself. I am a tiny kid, literally. I'm 13 years old and have a tan skin color. This Christmas, I was really in the holiday mood because my mom agreed to get a whole gaming set, and because we set up a Christmas tree. Normally we don't. Here's the cast, there's me, angry customer, brother. I was working with my brother in my mom's restaurant. She owns 3. I'm talking about the one in my last post. Because people can actually order downstairs now, I was packing the food for takeout while my brother was doing the pin machine. On to the story. Do you have the order of angry customer? It'll be about 4 or 5 minutes. Okay. Angry customer walks in. Hello, I ordered. Insert order details here. At 5:30. It's coming up. It'll be about 4 minutes. What? 4 minutes? That's way too long. I ordered at 5:30 and it's 5:40. Ma'am, that's our standard waiting time for insert orders of annoying angry customer here. What? No! I'm leaving if I don't get my food right now. At this point, I'm getting annoyed, so I decide to intervene. Ma'am, if you please wait 1 more I get cut off. No, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm leaving. Okay, leave then. But just so you know, all takeout in our area, restaurants are owned by my mom and dad. Fine, I'll wait. Eventually, she left with her food. So long story short, don't be rude to the kid of the owner of all the takeout restaurants in the area, cause it'll come back and hit you with the dose of karma. Also, big thank you to everyone being so nice to me in my last post. Someone tell Theodore Roosevelt, we've got a monopoly! Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.